Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hey there, hi there, hello there. How are we doing today? I'm your host, Josh Scar. Welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack. I'm apparently a little bit out of it because that's not my usual intro. I went a little out of order there, but it is what it is, and we're just going to keep going live. I am your host again, Josh Scar. I'm all out of sorts, so I'm forgetting what I said. I'm joined by my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I'm as fun as a monobob on a ice rink.
But are you as fun as someone who cheated 90 days into a 180-day relationship?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's that fun besides some Norwegians. To be so distraught that you won bronze that you just broke down and went, I met the love of my life and I cheated on her 3 months into our relationship. We've been together for 6 whole months. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
And I told her right before I went to the Olympics, and then they interviewed her, and she's like, why the hell is he bringing our personal life into this shit?
Some weird ass drugs kicked in that moment. I don't know what else to tell you.
I'm like, why would you do that?
Because he's Norwegian. He's too nice.
I guess.
Norwegia is the Canada of Europe.
Yeah, I don't know. I was watching some monobobbing today, and then some Super G combined downhill slalom thingy where the moguls backflipping.
Slalom.
I don't know. It's the Olympics, and
we talked about it last week in an episode that no one's going to hear for another 3 weeks. Slalom is a word that you can't say properly, and it always sounds like you're drunk when you try to say it.
Well, there's 3 S's quietly in there that you don't know about. So shlom.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel.
Oh crap! What is our company? Heisenberg Incorporated or something?
Hassenpfeffer?
Yes, thank you. There's a reference from before
thank
we
you,
were born,
Wayne's
kids.
World. Did you get a chance to enjoy the spring alpha test?
Oh yeah, I did. It was 59 degrees out today, and so I opened Windows, and then logged on here. No, no, we actually opened our windows to get some breeze through the house. It was very nice.
I forget what the term is, but I mean, a lot of different cultures have it, but I know there's a Norwegian thing where you on the first really nice day of the year, you let fresh air in, and I forget the word, but it's a really fun word. I'm going to have to look it up now.
Yeah, you just flush this stuff out of the house to actually just enjoy. You get out all the sickness and grime and gunk that you've been kind of hoarding in for a while. Yeah, no, I read that once somewhere. I was like, oh, okay.
It's Luft ut. Which it just means airing out. It's opening windows and doors to let the fresh air in. It's something that they do even in the wintertime, 5 or 10 minutes a day, just to kind of flush the bad air out and the bad vibes.
I might try that when it hits -40 some night. Just I'm like, babe, I'm experiencing what, because they do it in at the Antarctic, those stations where on the days where it's 100 and with wind chill, it's 100 degrees out. They'll crank up the internal saunas to 200, and they'll just sprint into the sauna and then sprint outside. So they can experience.
You mean negative 100?
Yeah, negative 100. So they can experience
100 degrees in the Arctic. That's impressive.
Yeah. So they can really experience that shock to the system or some crap.
Yeah, and then by Saturday it'll be mid-20s again.
Oh, joy.
Fahrenheit, not Celsius. If it was Celsius, that would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
But yeah, the Fahrenheit is what gets us. Yeah, so like I said, it's the alpha test for spring that we'll get for a week, and then it'll become 90 plus degrees with 90% humidity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What is it called? Second, it's this. We haven't even had this. We're gonna have fall, spring, and then second winter.
And construction season.
Oh, yeah, gotta have construction season. Gotta go right from salt to potholes.
Pretty much. Well, speaking of lovely people and lovely Canadians, we're going to hear from Scott, Greg, and Liam. over at I Have Some Notes. And when we come back, we're going to talk Fallout Season 2. We'll be right back.
I'm Liam Creswick.
I'm Scott C. Bourgeois.
I'm Greg Beaver.
And we host I Have Some Notes, the podcast with cuts, keeps, punch-ups, and tweaks on mediocre movies.
Each episode, we pitch potential script revisions and different production choices in an attempt to improve the films that didn't quite reach their potential.
From Armageddon to Zack Snyder's Justice League, we invite you to be armchair screenwriters with us as we swap notes, riff, and celebrate the middle list of movies.
Subscribe now to I Have Some Notes.
Definitely subscribe. It's a wonderful podcast and one we've been on a few times. So not just for our episodes, but go and check them out. It's a good time. They really challenge the way you look at movies and the way you perceive how to fix films that studio interference or deadlines might have. I really hate that The Mummy 4 with Brendan Fraser and
Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz, thank you. The Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, Mummy 3/4, because she wasn't in 3. With that already having a release date, like we've seen movies that have just been like, we've got a release date. We can't miss it. Those movies don't usually end up well.
Right, but
make the damn movie and then figure out the release date from there.
The hope that I have about that is that they have a script done. So they're going to be shooting with something to shoot versus just sitting around like, okay, we're waiting for the pages today, guys. Let's do some improv. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Instead of, doing the Doomsday and Secret Wars model, which apparently they might be splitting Secret Wars into 2 movies as well.
No, work rate for The Hobbit.
The comic they're basing it off of is extraordinarily dense. So you would hope if they are kind of adapting that a little bit that, it kind of makes sense. But I could really see it just them being like, okay, we're going to release 3 2.5-hour movies and hopefully they make sense by the time we get through the edit.
Yeah. We'll see. But speaking of the I Have Some Notes guys, for anyone who listens to their podcast, if you guest star on there and they say they're going to send you some poutine, they won't. I'm still waiting. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah. You can't trust the U.S. Postal Service at this point. As far as I know, Liam is the one who takes care of that. And Liam told me specifically that he had sent your poutine.
Okay. I remember growing up and my parents have told the landlords the checks in the mail a few times and it was not. So, Sir Joshua, I have a question for you.
42.
That is correct. I was going to ask you, of Fallout Season 2, how many plot lines are going on at once? And that is, I think, the accurate answer.
And how many of them go anywhere? 0.
1.5.
Yeah, I guess. The ghouls storyline actually kind of continues on.
It progressed.
Yeah. He they moved the goalposts on him again.
His princess is in another castle. Oh man, just the way things have worked out with watching Fallout Season 2, which bravo to it for not coming back 2 years later, but coming back like 20 months later.
Just missing that sweet spot in premium show.
Yeah. And they already got renewed for Season 3. They got renewed for Season 3 while filming Season 2. So they're filming Season 3 like right now, right about now, which is great.
So they might keep that 20-month in between.
Yeah. They might squeak it to 18 months.
Which, like, with how good the show looks, it's understandable. There are very few seams in the visual effects for the show.
So if I remember correctly, we reviewed Fallout Season 1 and we both unabashedly loved it. It dropped, let me see, they dropped all the episodes at once. We just kind of binged through them. It was a huge hit for Amazon. It's come back, but they did I think 2 episodes for the first week and then the rest were released every week. And
they did the typical Amazon model with popular shows.
And I love it. I still love the world. I still love everything that's happening. But instead of watching it week to week, we waited a little bit and we were watching like 2 episodes every few days. And I think that is the better way to watch season 2 because there are so many storylines that get thrown into it because you forget by the end of season 1 that everybody's basically been split apart. And so season 2, you have Lucy and the Ghoul doing their thing, but then you have Norm being trapped with a little robotic brain. You have Maximus returned back to the Brotherhood. You have what's going on in Vaults 32 and 33 with Blind Al and Barb. And then you also have the flashback storylines that are happening as well. But then you also are following now Hank because Hank's on the run now that they've freed him instead of kind of recapturing him because
he's escaped.
Yeah, he escaped and Lucy couldn't pull the trigger on him. And it turns out the Ghoul intentionally did not kill Hank because he wanted a blood trail to basically follow. He's like, this guy's got to lead me somewhere. So you have all these storylines, and unfortunately, fortunately, they do a good job of basically every episode except for 1 or 2, in which they do progress every storyline a little bit. However, because some storylines are so threadbare, you get maybe like a scene of some of these storylines, which I think that is, for me, season 2, that is the only detriment I have, which is if I'm watching this week to week, I'm forgetting that I had like 1 minute of Norm in episode 2, and now it's like the end of episode 3. It's like, oh yeah, Norm was walking.
So I didn't have as much fun with season 2. Season 2 really felt a lot more fan servicey to me, where if you're a fan of the games, if you're a fan of the franchise, you are going to be like, oh, there's the thing. They're doing bottle caps. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're in this place. They're in that place. As someone who doesn't play the games, I don't know what the hell is any of this stuff on screen is. And I don't need them to like hold my hand and tell me that like, oh, New Vegas is owned by this person and like they rebuilt it and all these other things. New California, they do a pretty good job of just like letting you fill in the gaps, like, oh, the New California Republic, the Brotherhood, all these other things. Where my problem with a lot of this is just like everything just kind of shows up. And there's really just like moments where it's like, oh, this giant scorpion. Okay. I irradiated giant scorpion. Cool. But like anyone who plays the game is probably like, oh, that's the thing. That's a giant scorpion. And then the death claws, like, I think the death claws are kind of stupid looking. Like I have no reverence for these things. And I know the internet went crazy because IGN, the day that episode dropped, was like, we finally got great looking death claws in the Fallout series. I'm like, oh, we finally got them? Like, were they in previous episodes or were they teased or what was going on here that you had to say finally? There's no like really good humor in the season as well. Like season 1 played up a lot of Lucy's naivety, really just blended well into creating humorous situations within the wasteland. In this season, it's really just like, hey, Lucy, bet you're going to become a murderer today. Oh, you didn't? Bet you're going to become a murderer tomorrow. Bet you're going to just completely abandon all moral values that you have and all character basis that you have. And you're going to just become another part of the wasteland. That's her arc all season is like, hey, someone is really trying to get you to kill them and you don't wanna. I don't like that kind of character arc of like that kind of deconstruction doesn't work for me where you're trying to make someone a murderer. If you want to do other things with Lucy and have her like question different parts of her morality that she has learned through the vault, I can understand that. Give her a crisis of faith within like she was raised in some kind of theocracy in the vault. Like give her a crisis of faith with that. Like, man, I thought I served a great God. Why is all this stuff on the surface happening so badly? And why is there so much violence? And why is the God allowing this? Understandable, relatable. Not, hey, I bet you're going to become a murderer today because shit's so bad. I don't like that. The Ghoul storyline is pretty straightforward. Like he has no real character development other than like we see him soften up a little bit with Lucy and Maximus. Maximus's storyline, I don't understand at all. He is sad he's at the back with the Brotherhood of Steel after the events of season 1's finale. He meets Kumail Nanjiani, thinks he's a cool guy, realizes, oh, he's not a cool guy. I'm sad about being with the Brotherhood again. I'm going to go find Lucy. That's like 6 episodes of his 8-episode arc. And it just goes nowhere. And then he finally sees Lucy and he gets a hug. That's it. That's his character arc and his story for the season. Again, there's not a lot of humor that plays up to this. There's like little bits and pieces here. Like there's the one spot with Jonathan Daly, I think, is the like ghoul salesman, the guy that turned Thaddeus into a ghoul at the end of season 1. And he's just like this really weird, enigmatic character who you think is going to play a bigger role. And like he just shows up in one episode and he's like, all right, today's the day where you stop doing drugs. You're going to be a good person and you're going to just have a great day. And there's like a jaunty 60s tune playing in the background. And then it's a smash cut to him getting attacked by a cockroach. And like, that's funny. You play up the humor with that. And then like the next thing we see him is he's caught by Hank and he's having a somewhat humorous interrogation sequence with them. And then he becomes one of the first mind wiped people that Hank has a successful transition with. Like there's not a lot of humor. And that was what really kept me going week to week with season 1 was what antics is Lucy going to get into this week because of her naivety. Now it's like she's used to it. Let's see how quickly we can turn her into a murderer.
Yeah, I think you're being way too harsh on it. Like, I get that part of her storyline this season with Lucy is that will she bend to the wasteland because the ghoul has told her, like, I'm you like in 10 days or something like that. But I felt there was enough between her and the ghoul in which you start seeing that they are rubbing off on each other, that she is softening him while she is coming to realize that she does have to do some things. Like, she doesn't intentionally kill anyone until later on when she's trying to ease somebody's suffering. And then the culmination of her story for the season is her being challenged of like these people, this person who I trusted, who I want to bring to justice, is never going to be the person I expected them to be. And that payoff in the final episode was fantastic. I felt the two of them, the juxtaposition between them and what is her actual moral choice here. I also like that pays off is that the ghoul gives her the choice of what she must do. He is trying to stop when he's tried to force her to do things. She rebelled. And then towards the end, he realizes I have to help her by giving her the choice of what she wants to do. And I really like that. Maximus' storyline, I think that was underserved by how little that they kept us around him. Because basically, as you said, Maximus returns to the Brotherhood. But the Brotherhood now, because they have the cold fusion device, his leader brings in the other factions of the Brotherhood, except for the Commonwealth, the big one. And it's like, listen, while we have this, let's get rid of the Commonwealth because we hate them. And then Maximus, who hates just being there because he realizes just how faulty the Commonwealth, the Brotherhood's morals are, but he has to be there to try to do good. He briefly bonds with Kamal Nyanji. And he's like, and he actually like those moments where he's really enjoying being in the power armor, where he is enjoying, like, this is what I thought I was going to get into when they saved me at Shady Sands. Sandy Shades?
Shady Sands.
Shady Sands, okay. I really like those. They're very underplayed, but I like those. I think it just takes too long for them to then reunite him with everyone else. Because when he gets into the NCR battle power armor and he walks into New Vegas as the hero and sees everyone cheering because he's there to like battle the Death Claws, and you see him being like, this is what and you can see that this is what he wanted. This is who he expected to be. I thought that was great, but it took like way too long to get there. And the comic relief that they applied for Thaddeus, where they applied for Maximus, was bringing Thaddeus back along from the first season, which kind of worked and didn't kind of work, because I think you're right that I'm sorry, in my opinion, I think the pairing suffered a bit by not having like 3 people together, by having everybody splintered off and then having to give someone to bounce off of. Like even when Norm breaks out of the vault with his big decision, they struggle to get somebody with him until towards the end we're like, okay, this person works with him. And so then they're trying to pair off people.
So if there is anything that like I was really intrigued by with season 2, it was actually Thaddeus. Like I want to know what the hell is going on with his ghoul transformation, that he's developing like a weird monster mouth on his collarbone. He's losing an arm. What the hell's happening to him that he's not like just a standard ghoul? And the moment like his arm fell off, and Maximus is just like, I think your arm just fell off. Like it should have been funny, but it was more just them being like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And they just kind of like left the cameras rolling. Like it wasn't, it was just really strange. The timing of that was just off. And then Norm, I forgot about Norm's storyline completely. What a fucking waste of time. He I understand he has to defeat the brain. He defeats the brain off camera. And then he has to overcome these assistant managers, whatever you want to call them, interns. And they're killed off camera. He does nothing to any of them. They attack him, and then he like rescues the one that he really likes because she's still alive for some reason. And like that's it. Now he's just at the top of the wasteland doing whatever. And you could have done a lot of that just in the vault. And you could have progressed Norm. Like Norm is the other side of Lucy's coin. Oh, he did have to come to terms with, I'm going to need to murder some people because reasons. I need for the survival of my vault. Whereas Lucy, she doesn't have to kill anyone other than, again, survival. But because she is out in the open, she does have alternatives where Norm is kind of like sequestered into this little corner. And if you do that with him, you create more intrigue because how does he hide it?
Yeah, Norm was unfortunately just incredibly underserved. His entire story arc is summed up by he vaults up, picks up the little robot brain, apparently drowns it in a bucket, frees some managers, and briefly runs into the traitors from season 1, and then after they try to kill him, he gets them all killed with giant cockroaches. Which could have been a 30 to 40 minutes on its own, but that's another thing that I didn't particularly enjoy the season was time felt very weird because they show Hank's story and he picks up a yo-yo randomly, and then throughout this trial and error, eventually becomes really good at the yo-yo and has figured out how to make these brain control boxes that chip in on the back of the neck. Unfortunately, he destroyed a bunch of them. He killed a bunch of people trying to perfect it, so much so he ran out of Balties to test it on. So that's where he picks up the snake oil salesman. And then he figures it out, and then he starts kidnapping tons of people because he has an entire production line and all these people that he's brainwashed. Well, sorry, not brainwashed, mind wiped. Because what he can do is a side effect of the brain tech is that you lose all your memories, you retain your cognitive abilities, and then you kind of just become nice because you're just reset back to factory default. And he has employed all these people from the Wastelanders, and they're all working there. And that's actually something I enjoyed, is that Lucy got to see and be, given the devil's temptation of all these violent people you've been running across who you've accidentally killed or have tried to kill you, or we're going to enslave you, as she told the Legion. Oh yeah, the Legion has its own storyline. She told the Legion, listen, if you guys are looking for a virgin, I'm not it. I've had several pages of stuff, not to mention all the cousin stuff again. And so she has that double temptation of like, can we just make everybody nice like I expect them to be? And I really appreciated that. But Norm is just stuck in this plot line of nothing really is happening. And the same thing really unfortunately kind of happens with Vault 32, where Lucy and Norm are from, with Betty, who they have a water crisis and never gets resolved. The more interesting
she
thing
gets
is
sidetracked with a subcommittee that she allowed to be created, and they're overstepping their boundaries because they're supposed to be on a ration, and they're like, oh, we're going to have unlimited snacks and we're going to do all these other things. And like the power of the ability of an unlimited snack budget goes to the guy's head. And he's like, I have the power.
Yeah. And the more interesting storyline is happening in Vault 33 with Barb, who has her kid and then has decided to subjugate Chet by making Chet take care of the kid. And then every episode we find out Chet's life's a little bit worse, and that she's randomly decided to name the kid Chet Jr., who he's like, but that's my name and he's not my kid. And he's like, and then a little bit further and a little bit further. And oh yeah, now they're getting married. He doesn't have a say in it. They sleep together in the same bed, but apparently nothing happens. And he's just laying there looking at this person who controls his life and just threatens him a lot. I did like the brief flashback we had of Barb, which we found out that she's a dirty commie from the north.
She's Canadian. Yep.
Which apparently is not a good thing to be. Her storyline was interesting, but as well, that all seems to be happening in like maybe a week or a day. But Hank's storyline seems to be happening over months. And then Lucy and the Ghoul are traveling together for what seems like weeks and months as well. So the timeline is just very, very odd.
Yeah, I do not care about the Vault drama. Like, if they wanted to come back to it at some point this season, and they had the blonde lady leading the other Vault as like the tease for what we learn at the end of season 2 with Hank's storyline, I can see that. Like, oh, we're going back to the Vault because now things are happening. I get that, but this season with the snack committee and the water rationing and everything else going on, where again you've got the blonde lady subjugating Chet and being a dommy mommy without the benefits of it, and all these other things where like certain members of the transition team from Vault 33 going into 32 or 31, whichever one it is, they're like, oh, it's reversed. So every time I turn right to go to the bathroom's actually on my left. And it's the worst. It's like, you know what's the worst? This fucking storyline.
See, even though I have these cool, like, I love this show. Like, I'm not a big, I have never played any of the Fallout games. I'm just aware through osmosis of working at a tech company, and all my friends love Fallout. So when Fallout 3 came out, like, Fallout New Vegas came out, they're like, "This is amazing, Fallout New Vegas." And then they briefly hated it, and they loved it. Then Fallout 4 came out, and they're like, "This is terrible." And then they kind of loved it. And then Fallout 76 came out, and they're like, "This is absolutely horrible." And a few of them still play it. I'm just more aware through osmosis of some of the
Same. I haven't, I don't play these games. I tried playing Fallout 3 once.
Yeah.
And I was just overwhelmed. Like, put me in the wasteland and let me just traverse. I'm fine. But then you add the RPG elements and like adding in you need to eat, you got to do the rat away. And the radiation poisoning is another thing in this show that they just really only care about when it matters or when they decide it matters. Because like Norm's been up there for maybe a week at this point. We don't know, at least a day or two. Shouldn't he be experiencing some radiation sickness? Nah, it's fine.
Well, Lucy's not either. But one subtle detail I like on Lucy's makeup, though, that I realized is that if you look at her makeup, she is slowly starting to get that sunburn stuff that all the Wastelanders have, where their cheeks are just like dried out and scarred up, which I actually really like. I like that. But that's also is like the Lucy and the Ghoul briefly get split up. Well, twice they do. Once. Wait, why did they get split up the first time?
The first time was because Lucy wanted to rescue someone. Yeah, she basically left him because she's like, you'll heal. She won't.
Yep. And she abandoned him saying like, when I come back for you, I hope you're a better person. But she ends up getting captured by the Legion, and she's literally been crucified and he has to go save her ass. And she looked really rough then, but he saved her. And then he semi betrays her trying to do the right thing, and then she power armor punches him through a window.
Yeah, she found like some
Yeah.
kind of like super punch item, and yeah, she just
Yeah.
lays one on him. Another thing with her makeup, which like I completely forgot because I didn't go back to watch season 1. But like I think it's her right index finger is blue because
Yeah.
she had gotten the other one cut off and they like attached a ghoul finger to her or something.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that, but at least like it's a consistent thing.
Yeah. But that being said, it's like I love watching the show. I think the reason why I love watching it is Walton Goggins as the ghoul is so damn compelling. Especially the way they layer every episode always has a flashback for him, and the way they layer it because they're telling the story linearly so the first episodes of season 1 starts off with the bombs are being dropped. That's like the teaser, the lead in for the episode 1, and then it jumps ahead. But since then, they've been telling this linear story of him finding out about the plot to nuke the U.S., or if not the whole entire world. And the way they've been sprinkling in his wife's life with his being trying to figure out who is doing what, and he's being played by that agent. And then he meets this really kind of like naive senator because she doesn't take any money, any corporate money. Nobody listens to her. Nobody cares. So
She
much
has
so
no charisma. Her charisma stats are 0.
Oh yeah, and especially so much so that she goes to an event, and then the guards, even though they know who she is, literally pick her up and throw her out of the building. But because she's like, I'm a senator, I'm supposed to be here, and they're like, we don't care. That storyline, when it gets to the culmination of it, where he and his wife have a confrontation, is so good. Like, I did not realize, because she'd been we've been shaded throughout the seasons. We've been seeing it through his eyes, and then we get this brief turn in the episode where we see a day in her life that led to that confrontation, and it is so good. Like, the way the show is able to just pivot these little moments that we've had, and it turns so you see the other angle of it. Oh man, dude! Like that stuff keeps me invested. Like, every actor on this show understands why they were cast and understands who they're playing to, and it makes me so damn happy because like that show, I was like, yeah, it's like, finally, Coop, you're confronting your wife, and then they give you like 10 minutes with her of what her day is like that led to this confrontation. It's like, holy crap. That's what her life is like. Damn.
I might sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but I don't disagree with anything you said.
Yeah.
I think that the production value of this show, everyone is giving 110%.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone is invested, from the actors to the directors to the visual effects artists to the makeup artists to the set designers. I think everyone is giving their all. But I think the script writers kind of missed a beat with this season because it was just so dour. And it was so invested in the dystopia of everything and like building more on the mystery than it was in the idea of having fun. Because I think, like I said earlier, they felt like, okay, anyone who's coming back for season 2 is probably very much invested in the games. We're going to have fun with them because we're going to put a bunch of stuff from the games in this.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right. And I think we need to talk a little spoilers so I can say, well, okay.
Before we get into too deep into spoilers, I do have to say one thing. There's a callback that we're going to be doing here from our Beetlejuice episode. Beetlejuice episode. Justin Theroux is in this season. He plays a pretty significant role as Robert House.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Justin Theroux? He is like the most everyman looking man I have ever seen. I could not pick him out of a lineup. Like, he might be the Zodiac killer as far as I know, because he has no distinguishing features. I forget who he is immediately.
Yeah.
And this man was like rumored to be having babies with Jennifer Aniston at one point in his life. And
For
now I'm
3
just like,
years,
and now I didn't even know he was in the show. And then I was seeing people talking about like Justin Theroux as Robert House is a revelation. And I'm just like, that was Justin Theroux? How do I not know who he is?
I feel so bad, but like Justin Theroux, every time somebody mentions him, I'm like, oh yeah, he exists.
He's Mae Whitman in Arrested Development. Him?
Yeah. Which is funny because like he's a director, he's like an executive producer. I think he writes episodes sometimes, but like I have no clue who he is because like when they revealed that the person we thought was Robert House is not Robert House, that Justin Theroux is Robert House, and he's using the body double to like live his life, so nobody knows what he is. I was looking at him, I'm like, I think that's somebody, but I don't know.
So when he doesn't have the creeper mustache that he rocked in season 2 of Fallout or in Beetlejuice with the long hair as well, from some of these pictures I'm seeing of him and just like a person, he looks kind of like Ron Livingston if Ron Livingston like had a leaner face and decided to become a male model and like just go full Zoolander.
Okay, I can see that.
But he also is just like extraordinarily average looking,
Okay,
in my opinion.
yeah.
But like he just has one of those faces is like, oh, is that the guy from is that the lead singer from Sugar Ray? Is that who that is? Like he just has one of those faces where you could just be like, oh yeah, that's the guy who's he at one point in his life he was the lead singer of the Backstreet Boys. You're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. You could just tell me anything, like, oh, that's the guy who was the voice of George Jetson. Like, oh, okay, I believe you. Why not? He looks like he belongs in Hollywood, but like, I don't know what anything he's done.
That is funny. Like I agree. Like I'm not sure who he is, but I like see like whenever he pops up, a lot of people love him, and I'm like, okay. Maybe it's because I have no clue.
He's just like the most nondescript, handsome man I've ever seen. Like, yes, he is an attractive man, but I would literally forget him the minute he walked away because he has like no. Is his charisma just like that great that it almost comes off as uncharismatic? Like, I don't know what he is.
We're just gonna find out one day. Gary Oldman's actually been playing him this entire time.
And the autograph on the inscription on the picture of John Oliver says, I was playing John Oliver the whole time, autograph Paul Giamatti. And so the idea is that John Oliver, his entire career has actually been Paul Giamatti playing a squiggly British man.
Yeah. Damn it. I know who you mean, but I can't think of the name. Damn it. I don't know. You're going to say the name and I'm going to be mad at myself.
John Oliver. That's who I'm referring to.
Oh.
I said his name like 4 times. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
I thought
you know the name. I said it. I don't. Where did you break off?
Churchill. I thought you meant Winston Churchill.
John Oliver, Winston Churchill.
I don't know why. Because you're saying like Paul Giamatti.
You zoned out. You like that's
no, because you were like saying Paul Giamatti, squiggly British guy, John Oliver. I'm like, okay, I know who you talk about. Yeah,
I know John Oliver, but he must be Winston Churchill because like why would John Oliver be on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert? It has to be Winston Churchill.
I thought you meant Paul Giamatti was pretending to be Winston Churchill for John Oliver.
I'm sorry that this is either going in as a post-credits thing or this is just staying in the episode as is at this point. So let's get into spoilers, Alex, before we make your face even more red. Have you been to the Wasteland?
Okay, no, wait. Before we go to spoilers, here Talking Smack, we have a rating system. Josh, would you call this a season 2 a must-see or pass?
If this was season 1, I would say it's a pass.
Interesting.
But because this is season 2, I still would say it's a must-see. Like, if nothing else, the production value alone is like worth watching. This season really just felt like we need to try and make sure we get a 3rd season. Like we talked about earlier, there's nothing that's really progressed. You're really just there to be in the world and experience some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I think it's a disappointing season. But as a TV show, I think it's must see only because, again, we know there's more coming. They're already filming it. I just think it's a little disappointing, but
Yeah.
not disappointing enough to pass just because, like, again, visually it's stunning. And Walton Goggins.
Yeah. I'm going
Also,
to.
I'm sorry, I have one more
Sorry.
thing I really have to get off my chest.
Yeah.
I really appreciate Ella Purnell. Not only because she's a phenomenal actress, but like the fact that she did not give in to like the weird Hollywood women's body dysmorphia that happens where like, oh, I made it big. I'm a little on the like average size. Like I don't even think I would say she's average. Like she's probably like slightly below average in her build.
Yeah.
Usually what happens is if there's a big gap in things, they go on the Ozempic diet and all of a sudden they come back a toothpick. She looks like a normal fucking person. And I love her for that. Like she seemingly has not done anything to Hollywood in terms of like her body size, or like Hollywood has not gotten to her and been like, hey, you're a size 4. We need you down to a 2.5, maybe a 1. Like that's a big gap either way. But like Hollywood just has this weird thing with women where if they look normal, Hollywood's like, hey, you need to like become a skeleton, please, because you're not attractive unless you look like you're about ready to break under a stiff breeze.
I just love Ella Purnell's like personality. Like, it really, really helps that she just has these giant eyes, and so everything like she like anytime she's acting innocent, it like just really helps because it's like oh yeah, like I'm immediately drawn into just how you being plucky and sweet.
The doe eyes really helped, but
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
I was just really appreciative that, especially with the outfits they put her in, that she just looked like a person and not just like a twig. And I like that's one of the worst things in Hollywood that it forever. It's always bothered me that at some point women just like Scarlett Johansson's another one where she never really got too thin. Like she got pretty thin for the Avengers stuff, but like her body type just did not fit that Hollywood I'm going to become a twig thing.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of like embraced it and was like, I'm a woman, I'm going to have curves and
Mhm.
we're going to go with it. Her range in acting, leaves something to be desired, but her ability to retain a normal looking body type is extraordinarily appreciated.
Yeah.
So, spoiler, Alex, what's your must see?
Oh no, it's a must see. I think season 1 was probably like a 9. I think season 2 is maybe about a 7.
I can agree with that.
But yeah, it's a must see. And now through the magic of people being able to skip forward if they want, we'll talk spoilers.
And timestamps in the episode descriptions.
Oh, that's what those are called. So the first thing I have to think about is, okay, so I have this problem that I need to talk you through with you.
The answer is 42.
I know, but that's a few too many seasons. I need to know if this show is going for 3 seasons or like 4 or 5, because right now the way this season has unfolded, it's season 1 very beginning drops to the bomb, and then immediately there's all these flashbacks. We now know that the reason why Coop Howard, who went from being the Vault Tech guy with this great life, amazing wife, only seeing his daughter on weekends where he's being forced to do like cowboy shows for rich people. It's because he and his wife let him know, listen, I don't know who's out there, but some other people are controlling it. And the reason why I said those things in that meeting about us dropping the bomb is because I had been fed those lines. And they're going to work together. They get the cold fusion to the president, but because they don't want to give it
Brown
to
alert.
Oh yeah. They don't want to give it to Robert House because he's Justin Theroux and he looks like every man. And that was the wrong decision because apparently that's how the Enclave gets the cold fusion. And really when the Enclave is kind of like is like shown to the audience. And Coop is labeled a pinko. So he's being arrested for un-American activities. and he tells his wife, "I'll take the fall. You pretend you know nothing." So season 3 seemingly is going to be, the flashbacks will be about his life after becoming, being labeled a pinko and the fallout from there. Where are they going to go after that? Because it seems like we'll be wrapping up, like catching the past up to the present, kind of to the fall of the bombs. And I really don't give a crap what the ghoul's been doing for the last 200 years since the bombs fell, because we know what he's been doing. He's been looking for his wife and turning into a ghoul. So if they wrap up his storyline with season 3, the past, does that wrap up the show?
Yeah, when the flashbacks catch up, that becomes a problem. That was a big issue with
Lost.
Arrow, Lost as well.
Mhm.
I know Arrow was a big one too, where like by season 3 or 4, they were really stretching shit. Then,
Yeah.
like, oh, well, he went back to the island after he
Yeah.
came back for a little while. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that can create problems when you are doing that kind of narrative storytelling. I would hope they have an end game in mind, where
Mhm.
it's either season 3 or 4. Um, I think it's pretty obvious that they were hoping more to conclude some of these storylines through season 3 based on how season 2 progressed, where
Right.
it's a lot of setup and escalations, but there's not a lot of resolutions.
Yeah. Yeah. Because let's just say that for some reason they have a 4 or 5 season plan. Once you've caught up with the ghoul to the past, I don't want you then to go like Betty. We already had Betty. Betty's fine. We got let known that Betty escaped the Canadian concentration camp for Canadians to sneak into the U.S. to brutally kill Americans, because that's what Canadians do. And I don't need any more Betty's backstory. I don't want to know like Blind Owl's backstory. You guys have anchored this thing on the ghoul, Dogmeat, and Ella and Maximus. That is the characters I want to follow. I don't
Yeah,
want you
the vault
suddenly.
stuff.
Yeah.
If, like I said earlier, if we went back to the vault after everything and she like just went into Hank's office and found his Enclave Pip Boy or something,
Yeah.
like that's intriguing enough. We really don't need this whole manufactured storyline of there's a water shortage, there's uh civil unrest because of rationing. Like don't care. Like
No, not particularly.
Norm and Chet were fun characters, but they've served their purpose. Life goes on in the vault. In the games, you don't go back to the vaults, or at least not your home vault, really, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Like the game just kind of progresses. My theory as of right now, as it stands, is I don't know if any of the games take place in Colorado, but Colorado seems to be a destination that must have some kind of purpose in the games. My
No,
guess is that
actually, Colorado's a blind spot in the games, I found out.
Huh.
I was talking to our mutual friend who has played everything Fallout, and I was talking to him about the game. But
Shout out to Shuey.
Yep. And apparently Colorado's just a blind spot. Like there's like 1 or 2 labeled vaults there, but no games have been set there. It's a thing. It's somewhere in there. So I'm hoping.
My guess is that they're my
Yeah.
guess is that they're going to head further east and they're going to like end the season in Washington DC. They've set up something with the president. I think
Oh,
DC
good
is
point.
where Fallout 3 takes place.
Oh, neat.
So it's either 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it's 3 because that's the one I tried and just was like, I can't do this. So like that would make sense. And if you're bringing in like someone like Clancy Brown, like you would probably be planning on bringing them back. So I think the idea is you're going to just keep moving east and you're going to just kind of see what the difference is between like East Coast and West Coast wasteland. And like, you're going to just put them in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah. Another, so one of the things that, cause you reminded me, cause you mentioned Clancy Brown, is, so we have surprise, Kamal Nyamji, and then they kill him immediately, which by the way, I liked him being a bad guy because he's all that very affable personality. He's a great, fun person.
His charisma stat is 100, where the senator lady was 0. His charisma was just off the charts.
And then you find out because he's an evil dick, because Maximus has to kill him because they're just innocent ghoul children working in a bottle cap factory, and he's going to just slaughter them all. So he gets rid of them. But it was somewhere around that same episode that Lucy had punished the ghoul for wanting to kill people because they are, what is it? They're some kind of cultists. I forget what he called them, like threadbares or something. As you said, the giant scorpion kind of injured him severely. So she tried to lead the other person to safety and gets tangled up with the Kaiser, even though they mean Caesar, Caesar's legions, and surprise Macaulay Culkin shows up.
That was good stuff. Like,
Yeah.
especially with, I started watching this shortly after Catherine O'Hara had passed. So seeing him in this, I was just like, makes me happy but sad.
Yeah, and then so the Legion is fighting because Caesar died in the middle of their two like camps, which are 1 foot away from each other, but neither can get to Caesar, so they just keep killing each other. To which the ghoul shows up and makes a bargain, saves Lucy, but also betrays them by having them start blowing up
He
explosives.
pulls a
and
Jack
they fight.
Sparrow plan on him.
Yeah, and they start fighting each other.
Kind of shows his heart of gold buried underneath all of that theatrics.
And so I was like, wow, man, that's really weird. You had Kumail Nanjiani, you had Macaulay Culkin all for like an episode, but then Macaulay Culkin is back like a mofo. He is the new Caesar. And by the way, you say there's not much humor. What is freaking funnier than the plan for the Legion, now that it's reunited under a new Caesar, is they must reclaim the promised land and rebuild Caesar's palace. That is a brick joke. I was laughing so hard because it's like, that makes sense. The Romans want to go back to Caesar's palace and reclaim it as the homeland.
Again, I didn't like laugh as hard as you are right now.
It's
But I
so
was like,
dumb.
Caesar's Palace, I get it.
It's so dumb.
Everything
But
else
he-
surrounding it is just so dour. I was just like, okay, yeah, makes sense.
But I just
They're
love she
doing
points
the
out,
thing.
she's like, why are you calling it Kaiser? You guys have a very Roman thing on, but you're putting the hard K for the hard C. Should be Caesar. But no, I just laughed. And but my main concern about the future of season 3 is they have pulled in, so the Brotherhood is doing its infighting with Maximus has abandoned them with the cold fusion device. The Brotherhood is fighting each other. The NCR shows up to Vegas. The Legion is marching on Vegas. Lucy and Maximus are in Vegas, so they're going to be there dealing with wars that they started. But the ghoul is off on his own with dog meat. I find the ghoul very compelling.
Yeah, and separating him from the rest of the cast, it just it's weird because like, are they just going to go follow him? Like, what is this separation of the ghoul and like why? Because he works better when he's bouncing off of Lucy, especially.
Yes.
And so like putting him with two naive new lovebirds, like, can you imagine how annoyed he would be?
Oh yeah. That is my only concern, is that they have cycled the people, because it sounds like Norman's going back to the vaults. That's basically resolution of his storyline. He's like, I'm taking you to the vault for safety, to the one person of the managerial staff who got put in that vault, even though she started a week ago. And he's dragging her to safety for the vault. So he's going back to the vault. The other storyline is culminated in Vegas, but the ghoul's wandering off on his own. So yes, we consolidated places, but that's not where I want people to be.
Mm-hmm. And I was reminded, part of Norm's storyline is that he has discovered that there's some kind of like experiment or additional process that is being implemented into the vault testings that they're doing, where there's the FEV, the forced evolutionary virus. And maybe potentially massive spoilers here. I had to look it up because we were talking about Thaddeus earlier, and I keep forgetting to like investigate it to see if there's actually an in-game reason for what's going on with him. But it seems speculation is that he is experiencing the FEV. So like we're kind of getting the precursor to what the virus symptoms will be through him. And then when it starts happening to the vaulties, that's when we're going to be like, oh, shit's getting real. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that because I forgot that yeah. And I'm wondering if that ties into
It becomes such a footnote because they immediately are like he finds out and then they immediately it's more about him like escaping than it is about like this discovery that he's made.
right. Um, but that ties into so Hank escaped to Vegas to work on that microchip, and he was contacting Robert House, hoping that Robert House was still somewhere out there because Robert House always survives apparently. And and there's a great bonding moment with him and Lucy in which he's trying to show Lucy like, hey, listen, I understand you want to take me back. I've done some bad things. You know, he's responsible for blowing up Shady Sands. But look what I'm doing. I'm bringing peace to the, the wasteland and stuff like that. But she can't. She's like, no matter how much good you've done, the bad things you've done have outweighed that. And so he shows off this new, smaller chip that you can't even tell anymore. Would be in somebody. It's not this big block on their neck. It's going to be this little thing. You just put a little slit in the back of their neck and you stick it in there, and all it shows there is a scar. He gets so mad at her insistence on not seeing his point of view that he's going to use the chip to wipe her to make her the daughter she expects her to be. The ghoul then helps her, gives her the upper hand, and then walks away. And then she is taking her dad back. Well, they get outside the place, outside the building. And she threatens him by saying, I'm going to make you the dad I always thought you were. And that was so good.
It's a good line.
Yeah. And he chooses to mind wipe himself before she can. But he tells her, I've already done the plan. Phase 2. There are thousands of these out on the wasteland now, of these little chips. And he's like, you don't understand, Lucy. The vaults were not the experiment. The wasteland is the true experiment. And then he wipes himself. So I wonder if that, because you're mentioning that virus, I wonder if that's that ties into it. Maybe? I don't know. Because like I said, I haven't played
who
the
the hell knows. Yeah. But that what you just talked about reminded me as well. The Shady Sands stuff with Maximus, we talked about it briefly, but like that is maybe the most heartbreaking thing of this entire season. Like that adds so many layers to Maximus without him having to lift a finger, where it's just this wonderful little community working together. Literally the day they are able to make clean water, non-irradiated water, a nuke gets delivered to their site and Maximus's family just gets obliterated after stuffing him in a fridge. And it's heartbreaking in like the best ways you can do it cinematically, where you can really create a foundation for a good and compelling character without him having to do much. And so like the fact that we have these like really quick flashbacks in like, I think it's episode 2 of the season, maybe episode 3. It's pretty early on. It's just really good stuff that makes a lot of like Maximus's naivety and his hopefulness for the future and just his hopeful, like what he's looking for in people and in society. It means a lot more based on where he came from. Whereas previously it was like, oh, he was just a child that was found in the wasteland for some reason. And the Brotherhood adopted him. And because he was so young and impressionable, they were able to lie to him and just teach him all sorts of stupid things. Like if you ever have an orgasm, your dick's going to pop off.
I mean, who hasn't been concerned about that? You're right. And that is what pays off Maximus, who is able to tank the death claws, is just how impressive that is. Like, is that when the ghoul, Dogmeat, Thaddeus, and Maximus and NCR Power Armor march into New Vegas to kill Death Claws to fight their way to Lucy, the way all the people, was it called, like Freestone or whatever, are all there cheering them on, that the NCR is back and they got the power armor. You see that he's finally living the life he wanted to live. What he saw as a child, my family is lost. The people who got me out of the fridge are these power armor people saving us. these are heroes. I absolutely loved that.
When the ghoul showed off that NCR power armor and Max walked up to it, and that was a great moment as well, because it really felt like the kid in him had come full circle. He's like, yes, I can do good in this. It's not Brotherhood armor, it's NCR armor, and the NCR is like this idyllic. It's something that's on this idyllic pedestal in the wasteland, where it's like, oh, these weirdos that think they can reestablish democracy in this wasteland. They're so naive. And it's just a really nice full circle moment for him in this season, which I know we've ragged on the fact that not many people have character moments, and I don't think as a character Maximus really came around to anything. His whole thing was, I gotta find Lucy. I miss Lucy. I found Lucy. But there are little storytelling moments that really culminate in a lot more. The characters just kind of plateau for most of the season, though.
Yeah. And Lucy's basically her arc, which she even comments on at one point to your point, is she's like, why does everybody I meet want me to kill them? because there's a point where she finds out a mainframe is literally a person whose mind is being used because they're a nice, submissive, kind mind, and that mind is the template of people when they get their minds wiped by the control device. And her arc is that she's going to do things on her own terms. However, there are consequences, because she and Maximus both end up at the same point. They run into each other, reunite in Vegas, which is great, but they both realize, because the NCR is marching in, the Legion's marching in to Vegas,
Hurrah! Hurrah!
Yeah, and they both basically realize we've caused this through our pacifism, because through trying to be good people, we have created worse outcomes at this time. Because if she had just sided with her dad and helped him do his production, all these people would be nicely controlled, because they already captured some of the NCR people, like the people that they ran into originally, which was 6 people at an outpost, and one may have an inappropriate relationship with a squirrel. there was something weird, how interested he was in that squirrel he was feeding. But she refuses, because she wants justice for her dad, and that people can make their own choices even if they choose evil. Versus Maximus, he ran away from the Brotherhood that he caused this entire war, because he did a good thing by protecting the ghoul kids, but he wasn't strong enough to kill his leader, who was trying to start a war, therefore accidentally leading to a war breaking out completely. And now this the leader of his faction, the Brotherhood, is on the war path with everybody. And as we found out through the extra scene at the very end, he's breaking out the big power armor, the Liberty Prime destructive armor that, blueprints. So I do like that they are now with each other dealing with, and will be forced to deal with the ramifications of their inaction. But I don't want to see Lucy lose her spunkiness, and at the end of the show, she's gonna be like, I'm just like the ghoul, and now the ghoul's like me, or is nicer. No, I want the nuance within them. I want them to reach a common kind of middle ground with each other, which is why I'm afraid of the ghoul wandering off with Dogmeat. Which, by the way, Dogmeat's like Robert House, right?
My guess, I don't think that's anything. My guess is that they teased that Robert House is still active in that big office. So I believe that what's going to happen is that Lucy and Maximus will talk to the Dr. Zola, Robert House, and then they'll be sent on a mission to catch up to the ghoul, so that he can continue to track him, and they're easily manipulated.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a huge problem for him to be like, hey, the ghoul's heading to Colorado. I need to go with him because reasons.
Yeah,
Can you get me to him?
Yeah, he'll piggyback on her Pit Boy.
Yeah, they'll give Maximus the Pit Boy.
Other Pit. Yeah,
he's got an open wrist. So I think that's kind of what will happen, and Robert House will kind of become an additional character that maybe at some point they'll transfer his consciousness into an extra robot body out there.
Yeah.
But It is just a lot of setup, and I think I
Mhm.
was hoping for a little bit more resolution,
Yeah, I agree.
and among other things, Hank just becoming a mind-wiped nobody doesn't really resolve anything, and then
Yes.
transitioning into, um, Betty being an Enclave spy and contacting the Enclave, which, like, if I remember correctly, the Enclave is in some kind of snowy area, so
Yeah, they
maybe
briefly
that's what's in Colorado?
and they showed like advanced robots that are like floating like the Star Wars mind probe droids.
Yeah. So, like, I'm guessing that base is out in Colorado. They're initiating phase 2 of something. Maybe they're gonna update the, Amazon Prime for some terms and conditions and charge more money.
Ah,
Um,
more ads.
yeah. But yeah, I just I'm fine as long as you, like, actually resolve some stuff instead of just building more towards the setup, like, tease out season 2, like, you can do the Betty reaching out to the Enclave stuff. You can even do the fact that Betty is apparently Hank's wife, so maybe Lucy and Norm are actually her kids, but that doesn't make a lot of sense unless they were also, like, cryogenically frozen when they were very young and then they came out, and Hank and Betty had, like, a mutual parting of ways for reasons.
Yeah.
Like, there's some weird stuff in terms of, like, what happened there. I don't really care much about what's going on with the vaults, but the Betty stuff is kind of intriguing at that point, not until like, I don't care that she's Canadian. It's a funny little bit of like, "Oh, the Canadians are these savages from the North who hate Americans." Not too far off modernly, I don't think. I love Scott, Liam, and Greg, but, I don't wanna be on their bad side.
Yeah. So the reason why I mentioned the dog meat thing is that because I, if that dog ever gets hurt, I'm done watching the show. Dog meat's a good boy, and he's way too smart. Like dog meat hides, it gets away from danger. Dog meat steals the ghoul's hat when the ghoul's impaled and start to go full ghoul because he's impaled on this pipe because Lucy punched him out of a window. Takes the hat, goes and finds Maximus and Thaddeus, who are in the middle of nowhere, and then leads them to a third location where the ghoul is after having been rescued and then beaten up
And also somewhat cured of his ghoulishness
by
'cause
having uranium shoved into his body. Yeah.
by Ron Perlman.
There, yeah. But yes, the ghouls does get what he's been looking for, which is that he finds out that his wife and kid are frozen. They're in their cryostasis at this super secret secure facility that was built by Vault Tech and Robotech. Uh, this is hidden deep in Vegas, but their pods are empty, and he's left with a clue, which is he mentioned that he wanted to go with his wife to leave like Hollywood behind, and we can go to Colorado. And there's a nice little postcard there that seemed to be either he wrote it or she wrote it or whatever, but it's to let him know, hey, head to Colorado, look for a vault there.
Yeah, I could see that being a Robert House setup as well, like, maybe
Yeah,
Robert House even just outright, moved them to Colorado and then was like, "Coop will find you somehow."
I'm excited for where the show's going, but I need more resolution in season 3. I need some storylines tied up because one thing is I don't necessarily believe that Hank is actually fully mind wiped because he talked about the device, how you can put how much amnesia you want in there by cranking it around, and he mind wiped himself. So he may have just put it on one, and hit the button, and then decided to be nice to Lucy for once in his fucking life, apparently. But they need to start tying some stuff up because it's just getting too many storylines, too much randomness happening. And Game of Thrones did that, and they did it well for a few seasons, but then it started to really fall apart. And I don't want them to treat the show like Game of Thrones, where it's like, yeah, we can have 17 storylines all going at once, and we have 6 episodes to do it in. Like, I want them to start tying up some, getting those threads taken care of, because the vault, as you said, the vault's not very interesting. Lucy, Thaddeus, and the ghoul are what is interesting. sorry, Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul are
Yeah,
what's
and then you
interesting.
tie in the flashbacks to kind of pad out some of the theming and depth of the story, and like that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot really keeping this afloat because do you really care who dropped the bombs? Like it happened, it's done, it's 200 years ago. Do we really need to know or care that whoever the enclave is or the head of the enclave, like 200 years ago, they dropped the bombs and they created this problem, this world? Does it matter? How do you make that sort of thing matter is like really what I'm most intrigued by at this point. So what
I
are you
agree.
intrigued by with Fallout Season 2? Did you like it? How much do you hate my opinions on this show for this season? Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. Alex, you can let people know where they can also engage in conversation with us on the Discord.
It's tsnackpod@gmail.com, or you can just click the link below. Please join our Discords where we discuss more in-depth movie news, TV shows, animation, comics, things that might not deserve a full episode, but we just chat around about it, and we're happy to have you.
Sometimes we're happy to have you. If you like Quentin Tarantino, maybe not so much. So you can join our Discord, and the link is in the episode description. As of right now, I believe Discord is still going to be our primary mode of social media. There are some things up in the air about age verifications and such with Discord that maybe will force us to limit our social media pool even further. We'll find out. But you can follow us at Talking Smack Pod currently on Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube, which if you're watching on YouTube, you already know that. You can email us your thoughts, questions, reviews, comments, questions, concerns at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Lee Wallen for the musical themes that you are hearing right now. Thank you to Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Ale Studios for our Ricky avatar. Once again, please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. Reviews, thumbs up, sharing, that's how the algorithm finds out that you like us. Sharing us with your friends is how you let them know you like us. It's just a wonderful way to let everyone know, and a free way to let everyone know that you like us and you enjoy what we do here. Or at least that you think our opinions are worth sharing in some fashion, so you can be like, hey, check out these dumbasses. But once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to just download us and spend time with us today. Alex, thank you for spending time with me on this wonderful day of spring alpha before we get to spring beta in like our April or May. There's a show out there that people should be watching. What is that show?
Star Trek, the animated series. You got this.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Snack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do, ooh.